What's going on, guys? It's a Bear one back with another beer review, and this time we're doing straight to ales Unobtainium. There is going to be no pour because unfortunately I already reviewed this beer. I went all the way through the whole review only to find out that my phone didn't record any of it. So I'm sorry about that. Needless to say, there wasn't much going on with the head. It was a very non-existent head, and then there's really no carbon. There wasn't any real carbonation going on in this beer, which only makes sense because this is an old ale. Unobtainium is aged in bourbon barrels as well, and so and it's 10%. So that all kind of plays into it. Yeah, the 10% leaves a little bit of legs, but I mean, I gotta kind of know what I'm looking for with the legs. The appearance, however, we will cover the appearance. It's almost black. I mean, I feel like maybe I would get a different color if I was looking at this in the sunlight, but as far as what I can see right now, it's like a very, I mean, it's like the darkest brown you can get. It looks black. When I put it up to the light, I get some very subtle red highlights down at the bottom of the glass. And then maybe around the glass if I look at it through the top. But overall, it looks black. Now let's get into the aroma. So yeah, I get the bourbon and the barrel presence. The barrel not so much. Which my nose, I don't feel like I'm good at picking up wood flavor in an aroma or on the palate. I'm getting like caramel and toffee. In the beer as well. They use like what they call a dark or a black malt, a pale malt, a crystal malt, and they use molasses in here. I think I get the molasses. I didn't mention the molasses last time, but now that this beer sat for a little bit as I reviewed a different beer and then have come back to this beer, I do think I'm getting the molasses. Yeah, I'm getting like a candied, sweet molasses thing going on. Kind of like, I get this in big beers like quads and maybe there's just a certain malt that gives it off, but just that kind of staple bubblegum thing going on. But it's just subtle enough to where it's not a turn off. Maybe just a tad bit of roast in there. That's just kind of tying into that toffee. Yeah, a really rich, complex beer here going on. Straight Ale has created a really aromatic beer. Very pleasing to the nose. So yeah, as this beer has warmed, that more bubblegum presence has come through, which is fine. I don't really know what I taste in the beer that registers as bubblegum, but I do get it. However, I do get the bourbon and the barrel. Yeah, I believe the wood, it kind of hits me first with the bourbon. And then I kind of I get some of the carbonation. It's not terribly prickly. There's a little bit of carbonation going on. Kind of in the middle, I'm getting the caramel and more of the malty flavor going on. And then on the back end is what I really enjoy and really sets this beer apart from another beer. I know there's a lot of North Coast Old Stock ale lovers out there. I know one or two of them are subscribed to me. I'm so sorry I didn't enjoy that beer as much as I feel I should have. I just thought North Coast ale was just way too much of a caramel bomb for me. I don't really get into dropping caramel chews into my beer. I've said that before. It's just not my thing. But this beer, it's just really complex. There's a little bit of caramel in there that I do like. I do like caramel, as I'm hating on it. But then right at the end, what I really like is just a really subtle, nice toffee roast thing to go on to just kind of ride out the sip and linger on the palate and give another layer of complexity to this beer. And it's also kind of a semi-drying effect right at the end. Although this is, I feel like it's a medium to heavy, full-bodied beer. It's definitely not a light beer, so that drying effect is very semi and delicate right at the end. I would recommend you kind of ignore your inner urge to go for that next sip and kind of let the beer linger so you can get that roast and toffee right at the end. I think that really just, like a cherry on the cake, it just kind of sets this beer apart from the, I mean, I've not had a lot of old ales, but it sets it apart from the only other old ale I've ever had. So yeah, I really like this beer. I'm going for another sip, and then we'll go into recommendations, and then I'll pop a grade. I would also like to say, kind of riding through the whole thing, kind of just accompanying every individual note, is that candied molasses. So there's another layer of complexity there. I think the molasses is where I'm getting that bubblegummy thing going on, at least in this beer. And maybe molasses is what I taste as bubblegum in a lot of these, especially Belgian quads. Who knows? I don't know if there's any fact or science to that, but I'm just kind of in my thoughts on that. Recommendations: if you're an old ale lover, try this. Bourbon barrel aged anything fan, try this. There's enough bourbon and barrel in here for you to get your kicks out of it. If you're a fan of like the crystal caramel malts that give that toffee and caramel flavor, definitely try this. You know, the malt forward caramel crown. And I think even stout lovers should give this a chance. I think there's a little bit of a roast and a little bit of toffee for you to kind of get what you would want out of this beer. Anyways, yeah, just a really good, I mean, Straight to Ale knocked it out of the park. I really like this beer. I tried their No on the Wall, and I don't really want to disclose what I think about the beer. Other than after I had that beer, I wasn't expecting too much from Unobtainium. I figured it would just be just another like decent beer. But this beer really stands out, and I get really excited when Alabama breweries have something that I go bonkers over. Maybe you go bonkers over something else than I do, but for me, I'm going bonkers over Unobtainium. I definitely would at least pick up one or two of these a year. During the holidays is relatively when they release Unobtainium. And man, what a beer it is. I can tell they put a lot of time and care into this beer. And I'm thankful for that. So until next time, guys, Unobtainium Strength Ale 4.5 out of 5. Cheers.